Fuengirola, Spain, May 31st, 2025. The Champions League final had just ended when the cheers in Monaghans Bar were drowned by rapid gunfire. A masked assassin stormed through the seaside pub, his automatic pistol spitting lead as tourists froze in horror. Seconds later, two men lay dying on the tiled floor. Ross Monaghan, 43, and Eddie Lyons Jr., 46, pillars of Glasgow's feared Lyons crime family. CCTV captures the killer hunting Monaghan between overturned tables, firing point blank as terrified patrons scramble for cover. This was no barroom brawl. It was a pre-planned execution, forged in a 24-year blood feud with the rival Daniel clan and supercharged by the transnational reach of the Kinahan Cartel. Tonight, we'll trace the Lyons family's meteoric rise, the Daniel dynasty's brutal decline, and the cartel alliances that turned a Spanish holiday resort into a killing ground. Stay with us as we untangle decades of vendettas, drug pipelines, and power plays, right up to the moment bullets shattered a night of celebration on the Costa del Sol. Welcome to Crime Pulse. If you're new here, hit subscribe and join our growing community, digging into the UK's deepest criminal shadows. Like, share, and ring that bell so you never miss a case. Strap in. We're about to descend into the heart of Scotland's longest-running gang war, and the international forces now fanning its flames. To understand the double murder of Ross Monaghan and Eddie Lyons Jr., and the brutal chain of events that led to it, we have to go back to where it all began. Glasgow, 2001. That year, a £50,000 stash of cocaine vanished without a trace, triggering suspicions that would fracture the city's criminal underworld. At the heart of the fallout were two families, the Daniels and the Lyons. The Daniels, led by the elusive but feared Jamie Daniel, had dominated Scotland's heroin trade throughout the 1990s. Well-organized, deeply rooted, and unafraid of using violence, they were long seen as untouchable. On the other were the Lyons, younger, leaner, and hungry for territory. To them, the Daniels were aging monarchs ripe for overthrow. When whispers of the stolen cocaine spread, paranoia takes hold. Fingers point, loyalties fracture, and trust evaporates. Was it an inside job, a bold betrayal? No one knows, but the accusations ignite a powder keg. What starts as a single, unsolved theft spirals into a relentless gangland saga. Shootings, car bombs, and ambushes paint the streets red. Street soldiers, debt collectors, and hired guns are drawn into the chaos, each clash escalating the body count. As the years grind on, the Daniels' empire begins to crack under the weight of their own losses, while the Lyons tighten their grip, forging alliances that will carry their feud far beyond Glasgow's borders. This isn't just a turf war, it's a bloody legacy of vengeance, power, and betrayal, one that will culminate in a chilling execution on a Spanish coast decades later. 5 years after a stolen cocaine stash set Glasgow's underworld ablaze, the Lyons-Daniel feud explodes into a brutal reckoning on December 6, 2006, at Apple Row Motors in Lambhill. This isn't just another clash, it's the moment a simmering rivalry becomes a blood-soaked war, forever scarring the city's criminal landscape. Under the grey Glasgow sky, two Daniel enforcers, Raymond Anderson and James MacDonald, storm the gritty garage, masks concealing their faces, guns drawn with lethal intent. Their target, David Lyons, the steely patriarch of the Lyons clan, determined to topple the Daniels' empire. David dives for cover, escaping a hail of bullets, but the attack claims a heavy toll. His nephew, Michael Lyons, is gunned down, his life snuffed out in an instant. Michael's brother, Stephen Lyons, and associate Robert Pickett are left riddled with bullets, clinging to life. This brazen daylight slaughter, chillingly akin to Dublin's infamous Regency Hotel shooting, marks a point of no return. The streets pulse with rage as both families vow retribution, their feud now a full-scale gangland war. Glasgow braces for the fallout as the body count begins to rise and the Lyons-Daniel conflict spirals toward an even darker future. As the Lyons-Daniel feud scorched Glasgow's underworld in the late 2000s, the Daniels' dominance hinged on one man, Kevin Gerbil Carroll, Jamie Daniels' son-in-law and Scotland's most dreaded enforcer. This wasn't just a hired thug. He was a ruthless psychopath whose vicious acts pushed the conflict into a brutal new era, setting the stage for the bloodshed that would echo into 2025. Carroll struck fear into rivals, kidnapping and torturing Lyons associates in savage acts he chillingly called alien abductions. In 2009, he sank to a new low, desecrating the headstone of a child tied to the Lyons family, a calculated insult that stunned even the hardest criminals. His reign of terror fortified the Daniels' grip, but it also made him a marked man. On January 13, 2010, in a Glasgow supermarket car park, his time ran out. Trapped in the back seat of a car, Carroll was cut down in a meticulously planned hit, with murmurs that locked doors ensured his doom. Ross Monaghan, a rising Lyons figure at the time, was charged with the murder but acquitted in 2012 amid a trial shrouded in doubt. Carroll's death sent shockwaves through the underworld, fracturing the Daniels' power and emboldening the Lyons to seize control. The feud, now a relentless cycle of vengeance, surged toward a darker future, its shadow looming over the deadly events to come. After Kevin Carroll's 2010 killing, the Lyons-Daniel feud tore through Glasgow's underworld, shattering the Daniels' once ironclad empire and clearing the way for the Lyons' relentless rise to power. Leading this charge was Stephen Lyons, a survivor of the brutal 2006 Apple Row Motors massacre, whose ambition would elevate the feud far beyond Scotland's streets, setting the stage for the deadly reckoning of 2025. Scarred but relentless, Stephen fled to Spain's Costa del Sol, where he forged a game-changing alliance with the Kinahan Cartel, Ireland's €1 billion drug and weapons syndicate. Led by Daniel Kinahan, now pulling strings from Dubai alongside his father, Christy, and brother, Christopher Jr., the Kinahans gave the Lyons access to a vast global crime network. Stephen rose as a trusted lieutenant, while Ross Monaghan, a key Lyons figure at the time also in Spain, was allegedly linked to a 2023 cocaine shipment worth up to €500 million, seized off Ireland's coast aboard the MV Matthew. This partnership transformed the Lyons into a global powerhouse, outpacing the crumbling Daniels and entangling the feud with international cartels. As their influence surged, the seeds of a violent reckoning were sown, poised to erupt far from Glasgow's battlegrounds. Following the Lyons-Daniel feud's escalation into the mid-2010s, a seismic shift rocked Glasgow's underworld. The death of Jamie Daniel, the Daniels' iron-fisted patriarch, from cancer in 2016, left his empire in chaos. Younger family members, crippled by drug addiction and lacking Jamie's ruthless discipline, faltered, leaving their once mighty dynasty vulnerable. The Lyons, now a juggernaut fueled by their Kinahan Cartel alliance, seized the moment with savage precision. Their offensive was unrelenting, none more brutal than the attack on Stephen Bonzo Daniel, a Daniel loyalist who was ambushed and given a Glasgow smile, his face carved ear to mouth with a blade rigged with coins to defy stitching. He barely survived. The Lyons' campaign of terror escalated, with shootings erupting outside primary schools, leaving children caught in the crossfire and Glasgow gripped by fear. In 2017, the feud flared again when Ross Monaghan, a rising Lyons figure at the time, survived a targeted shooting in Glasgow's Penilly, a retaliatory hit linked to Daniel loyalists. Fleeing to Spain, Monaghan's escape only deepened the Lyons' resolve. Bolstered by their global Kinahan ties, the Lyons cemented their dominance, reducing the Daniels' empire to rubble. The feud, now a one-sided slaughter, hurtled toward its bloodiest chapter yet, its echoes destined to resound on a Spanish shore. With the Lyons-Daniel feud smoldering into 2025, a brazen theft reignited its flames, setting a deadly collision course for the Fuengirola murders. The Lyons, now a global force through their Kinahan Cartel alliance, had faced a setback in 2023 when a 2,253-kilogram cocaine shipment, allegedly linked to Ross Monaghan, a key Lyons figure at the time, was seized off Ireland's coast aboard the MV Matthew, valued at €157 million, but potentially worth €500 million on the street. The bust stung the Lyons' operations. In early 2025, another blow landed. A £500,000 cocaine stash, reportedly controlled by Ross Miami McGill, a Dubai-based Lyons associate, vanished from a safe house. Rumours swirled. Some claimed masked raiders struck, others whispered of a deal tainted by counterfeit cash. Suspicion fell on Mark Richardson, an Edinburgh-based Daniels ally serving a 10-year sentence for money laundering. A shrewd operator running the Daniels' tattered remnants from prison, Richardson became the Lyons' prime target. The theft unleashed a savage wave of retribution. Firebombings torched businesses tied to Richardson, including an Edinburgh beauty salon, while non-fatal shootings rocked Glasgow streets. Under McGill's command, the Lyons amplified their terror with a chilling Tamo Junto propaganda campaign, filming attacks to taunt rivals and flex their dominance. With the Kinahan-backed Lyons ascendant, this escalating violence set the stage for a bloody reckoning, its shadow looming over the blood-soaked events to come in Spain. On the night of May 31st, 2025, as the Champions League final's final whistle echoed, Monaghans Bar in Fuengirola became a killing ground, thrusting the feud's brutality into the global spotlight. Ross Monaghan, a key Lyons figure at the time, had settled in Fuengirola after surviving a 2017 Glasgow shooting, running the bar as a front for Lyons' Kinahan-backed drug operations. Alongside him was Eddie Lyons Jr., Stephen's brother and a loyal lieutenant who had narrowly escaped death in the 2006 Applerow Motors massacre. In a surgical strike, a masked gunman stormed the crowded bar, unleashing a hail of bullets. Eddie fell with a single shot to the head, while Monaghan, the primary target, was riddled with rounds as he fled, collapsing under the onslaught. Spanish police recovered 9mm casings, pointing to a professional hit timed to maximize chaos and send a searing message to the Lyons and their Kinahan allies. The feud, now a global vendetta, had erupted in blood once more, its repercussions poised to shake the underworld to its core. The Spanish National Police's Anti-Drug and Organized Crime Unit, UDYCO, took the helm of a high-stakes investigation, unraveling a web of global crime that would reverberate far beyond the Costa del Sol. With the Lyons' Kinahan-backed empire under scrutiny, the probe into the execution of Ross Monaghan and Eddie Lyons Jr. unearthed a tangle of motives and suspects, pointing to a reckoning rooted in decades of betrayal. As at today, June 26, 2025, no arrests had been made in Spain, but Michael Riley, a 44-year-old Merseyside man suspected of ties to the Daniel clan, was detained in Liverpool on an international warrant, facing extradition to Spain. Spanish police, led by the Spanish National Police's Anti-Drug and Organized Crime Unit, labeled Riley a professional killer from the Daniels, citing his calculated escape through Portugal to Leeds, though Police Scotland downplayed links to the Glasgow feud, insisting no evidence tied the hit to Scotland. Underworld sources paint a murkier picture, with three theories dominating: a Kinahan internal betrayal, possibly over the €157 million cocaine seizure in 2023 or mismanaged funds, targeting Monaghan as a scapegoat; a rival cartel hit, perhaps by Spanish or English gangs tied to a £500,000 debt from the 2025 cocaine heist aimed at crippling Kinahan operations; or a Daniel retaliation orchestrated by Mark Richardson, though Lyons insiders dismissed this, citing the Daniels' weakened state. The attack's precision, executed in a packed bar with no collateral deaths, screams seasoned assassin, likely hired through international networks. As the Spanish police digs deeper, the feud's global stakes promise more bloodshed, with the truth still shrouded in the underworld's shadows. The murders have sent shockwaves through the global underworld, destabilizing the Lyons' Kinahan-backed empire and igniting fears of a new wave of violence. The executions of Ross Monaghan and Eddie Lyons Jr. not only marked a bloody peak in the decades-long conflict, but also exposed the fragile alliances holding Scotland's criminal networks together, setting the stage for a volatile reckoning. Stephen Lyons, now entrenched in Dubai's fortified sanctuary where strict anti-violence rules shield gangsters, is reportedly pressing Daniel Kinahan for answers, suspecting betrayal within their cartel. Whispers on X suggest Kinahan may have tipped off authorities about a rival's location post-hit, a calculated move to deflect mounting pressure. The recent extradition of Kinahan associate Sean McGovern to Ireland on murder charges signals intensifying law enforcement scrutiny, yet the cartel's Dubai operations remain untouchable. In Scotland, the Lyons have unleashed a ferocious response, with firebombings torching businesses linked to Mark Richardson and the Tamo Junto social media campaign amplifying their terror. On the Costa del Sol, Spanish authorities brace for retaliation as Gangland tensions surge, threatening to spill more blood. The feud, now a global firestorm, teeters on the edge of chaos, its next chapter poised to unravel with devastating consequences. The Monaghan Lyons murders expose the intricate ties binding Scotland's underworld to global crime. The Lyons-Kinahan alliance connects them to Dutch criminal Ridouan Taghi, implicated in the 2016 assassination of Dutch crime blogger Martin Koch, where Scottish Muscle was reportedly involved. The disappearance of the Gillespie brothers, feared dead in Brazil, has created a power vacuum that McGill and the Lyons aim to exploit. This feud, sparked by a £50,000 drug theft in 2001, now involves a new generation, some born after the conflict began, perpetuating a cycle of vengeance fueled by money, power, and social media. As this cycle of vengeance deepens, the underworld braces for its next deadly chapter.